Welcome back to Andersen Acres. We're in the kitchen again today, and today we're going to be making bagel sticks. These are quick and easy and a little bit less fussy than forming round bagels. So we're going to do a very specific recipe, and then we're going to cook them kind of like we do bagels. And you can do this with any type of bagel. You can make it into a stick instead, but this particular recipe I really enjoy. So let's get started. The first thing we need, 1 egg. That one is from chickens, one of my younger layers. She finally started laying in October, which means she ought to stop laying around November. You want 2 tablespoons of sugar, but 1 teaspoon of salt. I always want to say yeast, but it's not yeast, it's salt. Then you want to add 1 cup of water and 3 cups of flour. Now I'm using just an all-purpose flour. You should use whatever flour you typically use for bread. In my case, that's all-purpose. And then finally, 1 heaping teaspoon of yeast. So I'm using bread machine yeast because I am doing this in the bread maker. You can do this by hand, of course. Like any bread dough recipe, you can either do it in a bread maker, you can mix it in a mixer, or you can just mix it by hand, whatever way you're most comfortable. I typically use my bread maker these days just because I have so much going on. I don't always have time to sit here and knead dough. So what you're going to do is, no matter how you're making your dough, you want it mixed, kneaded, and through its first rise before we come back to shape our dough. So remember, whether you're doing it in the bread maker or by hand, you need to mix it, knead it, and allow for that first rise. In my bread machine, that'll take about 90 minutes. If you're doing it by hand, probably about the same amount of time, to be honest. Bread machines don't save you time, they just save you the effort. So we'll come back as soon as our dough is ready. All right, our dough is ready. Looks good. So what we're going to do now is form our sticks. I'll just do a couple and then we'll stop the video and I'll fast forward. I'll just tell you what to do. So first we're going to divide our dough into 16 pieces. Now the easiest way to do that is to divide your dough into 4 and then shape each quarter into a ball. Just like this. 2, 3, and 4. And then you're going to take each ball and just divide it in 4 because 4 times 4 is 16. So just do that and set them aside. And then I'll just show you how to form a couple of these because it's not difficult. It's actually really, really simple. Anyone can do it. No fancy shaping methods. We're just making sticks. So now that you have 16 portions, take a portion. Just kind of make it so it looks ball-ish. Doesn't have to be perfect. Kind of form it into a tube and then just roll it with your hand. You're rolling so it's about 6 inches-ish. Okay, so you want them about 6 inches. Now in my case, I have measuring grids and I have these little circles here that are also measured. So I can just go, yeah, that's 6 inches because that's a 6-inch circle. They don't have to be exactly 6 inches if one is 7 inches, but one is only 5. That's okay. It's not the end of the world. Okay, so we're just like that. You just grab them and form them into sticks. So once you have formed them all into sticks and lined them up on your cookie sheet, because that's what you want a cookie sheet that has a liner or that you've sprayed in some way, because sometimes these guys want to stick a little bit. So prepare your pan either with a liner, maybe some parchment paper, not wax paper. Wax paper will burn, but parchment paper, or I'm using a copper liner, or you can simply spray a clean cookie sheet with some cooking spray just so that your sticks don't stick. You don't want the sticks to stick. So line them up on your tray. While you're doing this, you can fill a pot with water. I'm using a fairly wide mouth pot because I want to boil a bunch at once when it comes to the sticks. But any pot that fits the sticks is fine. You can boil just one at a time if that's what you want. So once you're done rolling all these out, what you're going to do is cover them with a clean dish towel and you're going to set them aside for about the 10 minutes or so it takes you to prepare a pot of water and get it to boiling. That's what you need. you need a pot of water, just like when we're making regular bagels. You need a pot of water, you need to set it to boil, and that takes a few minutes. So while you're doing all of that, let these set. They have to rise a little bit. They don't need to rise a lot, but they do need to rise for 10 or 15 minutes. So let these sit and rest while you get a pot of water boiling and get ready to bake your bagel sticks. Sorry, I'm having a brain freeze because there's a goat outside the window. So that's all you're going to do. So I'm not going to make you watch me roll anymore because that's enough. But we'll come back as soon as our water is boiling, and then I'll show you the next step. All right, our water is boiling and our sticks have been sitting for about 10 minutes. I think about 12 minutes it's been. So now we're ready to boil them. You want to get your water to a rolling boil, and then you're going to add 2 tablespoons of sugar. Okay, sprinkle that. You want to sweeten up your bagels. Your bagel sticks, I should say. So get that sugar in there. It dissolves pretty quick, so you only need to wait about 30 seconds because sugar dissolves in boiling water really fast. So once you've done that and your sugar is dissolved, and it's dissolved, I can tell, what you do is you're going to need a slotted spoon or other way to remove the bagel sticks from the water. And the wider mouth your pot, the more bagel sticks you can boil, but don't crowd the pot or they'll get stuck together. So just start adding bagel sticks. I'm going to do 4 at a time. And you want to boil them for between 1 and 2 minutes. And you want to use your slotted spoon to move them around a little bit. Make sure all sides get into that water. But you only want to boil them for 1 to 2 minutes. 2 minutes will give you a chewier bagel stick. 1 minute will give you a lighter bagel taste, right? Lighter bagel texture. But go over 2 minutes and there'll be these chewy chunks of goobers that you don't want. So just kind of move those around. You see they puff up. That's good. That's what we want. Puff them up. And then you're just going to remove them from the water and put them back onto your cookie sheet. While you're doing this, you might want to preheat your oven to 375 degrees Fahrenheit because that's what we're going to bake them at. So let me get these guys out of here. Just like that. Arrange them on your pan so that they're not all on top of each other. Okay, so that was bad. Okay. There we go. But yeah, kind of arrange them nice and boil 4 more. And obviously, because I have 16 sticks, I'll be doing this 4 times. You don't need to watch the entire time. And if you don't have a pot big enough to boil 4, and I mean surface area, you don't want to stack them on top of each other. They'll stick. But if you don't have a pot big enough, it's okay to only boil 1 or 2 at a time. You don't have to boil 4 at a time. I could probably boil 6 at a time in here, but I'm not going to. So keep going. Keep boiling your bagel sticks. And when we are finished boiling them, I will come back and I will show you what to do next before they go in the oven because there is one more step. But first, I'm not going to make you watch me boil all 16. So we'll come back in a few minutes. All right, here we go. They are all boiled and ready to go in the oven almost. All right, so you're just going to want to double check that nothing is too close together, so you don't want them touching and you don't want them too close to the edges. You do want them to bake individually. Just kind of fuss with them a little bit. Then you're going to take some egg, 1 egg, and mash it up with a basting brush. Doesn't have to be perfect. Just mash, 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 mash. Okay, you can do it with a fork if you want, but I don't need to dirty more dishes. So, yeah, I'm using a basting brush. So just take your basting brush and just run a little bit of egg over each stick here. So they don't have to be dripping in egg. Okay, but it is nice if they have a half decent egg coating because we do want our salt to stick. Because yes, we're going to salt them. Because that's delicious. We love salting things. There we go. So get all of these with a nice little coating of egg. And then what you're going to want to do is preheat your oven. I already said it, but 375 again. So we just want to make sure we're at 375 degrees Fahrenheit before we bake any of our sticks. We want to be at 375. So now we're going to take some coarse salt. I'm using a Himalayan salt, but you can use any coarse salt you like. and just lightly sprinkle the tops, just like so. Easy to do, not a big deal. There we go, done. Now we're going to put these in the oven at 375 degrees Fahrenheit for 20 to 25 minutes. You want to be at least 20 minutes, but after that, you know what? It's okay if you bake a little longer because you want them a little darker. So 20 to 25 minutes and you'll have excellent bagel sticks. We'll come back and look at the finished product. And there we go. Delicious, chewy, lightly salted bagel sticks. They're absolutely perfect in the morning with your coffee. They're equally delicious with your pasta in the evening. They're a lot of fun to make, and they are easier to make than a traditional bagel. So if you don't want to make a traditional bagel because it's a little too fussy, go with bagel sticks. They're equally delicious. So thanks for joining us here today at Andersen Acres. I do hope you enjoyed learning about bagel sticks. I hope you'll make these at home for yourself. We'll see you tomorrow.